What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Success Through Failure. I'm here with Nate.
How's it going, guys?
And I'm PJ, and today we're going to have a little Q&A. I've known Nate for a long time now, and I've seen him. He's made a lot of money doing the traditional brick and mortar businesses, and he's made a lot of money doing online businesses. So just kind of wanted to pick his brain a little bit and kind of get inside his head and see kind of the similarities and just kind of, how his mind works with it all. So for this first video, we wanted to talk about kind of coming up with an idea for a business.
All right.
The biggest question I always get when I talk to people is, I have the need to start, to make more money. I have the drive to start a business. I'm willing to put the time into it. I don't know what to do. I don't have an idea. And where do I go from there? And so when you're coming up with an idea for, a business or whatever else, what's your process?
The process for me, one is, am I interested in it?
Okay.
If you ever open a business just to make money, it'll never work.
Okay.
You have to at least have a strong interest in what you're doing. Like if you open a tuxedo shop but yet you hate tuxedos, you will not do well. It just, because you won't have the drive that it's going to take. It does require a lot of drive. There's a reason why not many people open businesses overall. In the mass public, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's very few. So the reason why is it's easy to talk about it.
Okay.
It's very hard to do it.
Right.
It's very hard to have the guts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because, if you have other people's money, it's a lot easier if you're just using other people's money. But if you're using your own money,
right.
and you're like, if this doesn't work, I'm going to be potentially homeless.
Right. So when you start second guessing everything.
It gets scary, and that's why people don't do it. So I will always tell you that 9 out of 10 times, if you get a guy that let's say you have a lot of money and you say, hey, this guy has a great idea, I'm going to give him money to open up the business. I'm going to tell you it's going to fail 90% of the time because he won't care because it's not his money.
Right.
So you have to have that element of fear.
Right.
That's the first thing. Fear will drive you to work harder. But so about opening that business and getting an idea, you have to do something you're interested in.
Okay.
And something that you see that you feel like maybe that there is a need for if you're doing a local business, that there's a need for it in your area. Like there would be a demand for it.
Right.
Like I will use an example of, let's say you want to open a cleaners. Sure, there may be other cleaners in your area. But say you go to the cleaners all the time for your clothes.
Right.
And you feel like, man, this one stinks. I went to the other one, and this guy's not doing this right either.
Right.
And I feel like this guy's not. Well, then you may have a need to open up a cleaners because you feel like you can do other things correctly. Like you can build off of their mistakes.
Right.
And that's how you can capitalize.
Okay.
That's usually what I look for. I look for something that I'm interested in so I can be passionate about it. Which you'll see like people on Shark Tank say that all the time.
Right.
I like this business, but I'm not going to make you an offer because it's not something that would drive me. It's not my field. It's not my... So they're being honest and saying, I wouldn't have the passion for this.
Right.
So, secondly, passion, and then, if you feel like you see a weakness. Because most of the businesses out there right now are, depending on where you live. But we're here in Southern California, and it's very populated.
Right.
Like, there's stuff everywhere. So, it's hard to come up with something brand new.
Right.
And so when you're opening a business, you're mainly looking to capitalize on weaknesses or people getting complacent.
Okay.
So that's what I would do.
Okay.
I would look for a thing where I'm like, man, this burger joints does so good and they don't even do it right.
Right.
Just imagine if you opened up one that did it right.
Right.
And that's what I would focus on.
Okay. So it's kind of like that remix strategy. Have you heard
that?
Where it's, don't try to reinvent the wheel, but just kind of see what's working right now.
Right.
And how can you modify and
how can you capitalize. Right. Yeah. Can you, and then the biggest thing is you need to make sure that your opinions are also correct.
Okay.
And how I would do that is very simple, old school, but a lot of people don't want to put in the work. And it's not even that much work, to be honest.
Right.
I would do old school focus groups.
Okay.
And it can be as small as this. Like, again, let's say we're talking about the cleaners again. I would say, hey, you're my friend, and I need a real opinion.
Right.
Honesty is the key.
Right.
I want you to go take these 3 shirts into this cleaners.
Okay.
I will pay for you to get them done.
Mm-hmm.
I will pay for your time.
Right.
And I want you to tell me the positives and the negatives after it's done.
Okay. Yeah.
Detailed.
Nice. Okay.
And you need to get people that you don't know as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like try to find people that you don't really know that well or this and that and have them go do the exact same thing.
Okay.
And, you know, I would say anywhere from 5 to 10 people is probably enough.
Okay.
Like for like a cleaners.
Right. Then you got to...
And then you want to compare them.
Mm-hmm.
What were the positives? What were the negatives?
Okay. Nice.
Like, what did they think was great? What did they think was bad? Because it may be different than what you think because you're only one.
Right.
So you're not always going to be right.
Uh-huh.
So I would say, you know, then you can compare and be like,
is this
you know
worth
what?
getting into?
What I thought was wrong,
Mm-hmm.
people actually,
right.
they actually like it.
So there's no need. Let's move on to something else.
Right.
Right.
Don't ever just go on what you think.
Right. So it's a nice start. But
there
then
is a
do your
reason
due
why
diligence.
companies have boardrooms.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because there's 10 heads or there's 20 heads in the room.
Right.
And that's why they have them.
Okay.
That is, everybody kind of wonders, like, oh, no, it's because they're so big and they have money everywhere. No.
Right.
It's because they collectively make a group decision.
Okay.
And now ultimately there'll be one guy that makes, you know, the king of the throne,
Mm-hmm.
you know, will make the final call and be ultimately responsible.
But at least you have other insight to kind of go off of.
Right. So if you don't have this big structure, which I'm assuming you don't have a boardroom of 20 or 30 people,
right,
or else you probably wouldn't be watching this video.
Right.
You are the king of the castle, but the way to get the virtual boardroom is with focus groups.
Yeah, and you could easily do that on like Facebook or Instagram with a poll, right?
And
to all
of course,
your friends.
And a lot of the information is free.
Yeah,
like Yelp will tell people you can Yelp their business and see what people are complaining about.
Mm-hmm.
They're too expensive. They're this,
right.
And you need to be careful. Some people are going to comment. And that's the thing. You need to have your BS glasses on.
Right. Yelp's a little sketchy, right?
Yeah, but you need to have your BS glasses on, like in the sense of, like, for instance, like most people, like we talk, are not business owners.
Okay.
They don't understand the economics of business.
Mm-hmm.
So when they say, "Oh, you know that cleaners, they were so expensive, they did this, and it was just overpriced."
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's not factoring in his labor, that guy's labor, that guy's rent,
chemicals, whatever.
Whatever. Like, how does he know what he's actually making?
Mm-hmm.
And just maybe that person's just also really cheap.
Right.
You know, we've all run into those customers that are like, they always think everything's free.
Right. Yeah.
But when they get something they want to sell it, they want top dollar for it, right?
Right.
So you have to be careful of that BS meter is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So just doesn't have any, you know, only thinks about themselves meter. You know what I mean? Like, so that thing you have to filter. But yeah, Yelp will give you some real information.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something you can do too. Like, by the way, if you really want to get crazy and whatever, or a little more, I'm not saying crazy, but a little more energetic and a little more outgoing, message the people on Yelp that made those comments.
Oh, okay.
And say, hey, I was thinking about going there. What really happened?
Mm-hmm.
And you'd be surprised. They want to vent about it.
Right.
And that's totally free.
Uh-huh.
And you'd be like, oh, you know, thanks so much, you know, for helping me out. Because I was thinking about going there.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Or doing this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they'll be happy to comment. Maybe only give you a sentence, but they may give you a paragraph.
Right.
And you're like, whoa, that's, you know, 100% honest, because Yelp doesn't say their last name.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the other problem with Yelp, is that because it doesn't really tell the people who they are, it doesn't make them accountable, right? Yeah. So, like you said, you have to watch out for what you believe and what not. But my experience is if you reach out to people on Yelp and whatever like that, and also there's other, like for us here, there's a bunch of Facebook groups, and they call them, like, the buzzes. Like, for whatever city you're in, you know what I mean? We're in Anaheim, so there's an Anaheim buzz. Or, like, you know, if you're in South Carolina, there may be a whatever buzz or whatever, where it's just a bunch of local people talking about their local city, and people say, hey, restaurant recommendations, do you have any? And look at people say, oh, I love that because of this. And then if you're doing a restaurant, make sure you do that.
Right. So you just take a list of all the good things, a list of all the bad things.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't.
Sorry, it was a long-winded answer, but the biggest thing is I look for I look for something I'm interested in. Number one, something I'm interested in. And then number two, I'm going to look at if I have any ideas instantly.
Right.
My ideas. I'm not saying I'm going to do it for sure, but my ideas, the light bulb things that are saying I would do this instead of this.
Right. Okay.
So I think that's big.
Okay. So like just as a practice for people, write down a list of things you're interested in.
Right.
And the next step is kind of going through and saying,
and stuff where there's a need.
Okay. And then it's just kind of going through and is there a need in here? What could I do different?
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. And then taking a step further is reaching out to friends and trusted people.
Right.
Getting information from them.
Absolutely.
Then going to like Yelp and figuring stuff out.
Yeah.
And then moving forward.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, cool. Well, there you have it. That's Nate on just kind of how to come up with ideas for businesses, whether it's a local business or you could even apply that to an online business too, identifying a need and figuring out how you can make a dent in that niche. So for further videos, please subscribe because we're going to talk about all kinds of different business tactics and other strategies and stuff. So subscribe and we'll see you next video.